So we're going to see if this thing will play while muted and I can talk over it and do a screen recording, or if the screen recording is going to pick up on the sound of this video as well. Because I've been trying to show you guys a clip of Times Square while I talk over it. So let's give this another try. All right. Here we go. All right, so this is to show you guys basically an example, a swath of the population. This is Times Square in New York City. It's a very busy intersection. There are lots and lots of people that walk through here every day from all over the place. You have tourists from all over the world that come here to see this intersection. So you're going to see lots of different samples of different kinds of people wearing all different kinds of clothing. And this is to show you the general color palette that people wear. So right there, that guy by the food truck, you'll notice that he was wearing blue jeans and red sneakers. That's what we're looking for, essentially. We're looking for people wearing the combination of blue and red. And specifically, blue over red. What you will find is that there are very few of those people. If you pay attention to the general population, to the kinds of clothing that's typically worn by the general population, and this is across cultures too. I'll make this video with, a clip of crowded streets in Mexico, and maybe even like crowded streets in Tokyo, somewhere like that. And you'll see that people typically tend to lean towards more muted palettes. They will wear grays, blacks, whites, khakis, pastels. They'll wear black and gray together. They'll wear black and white together. They'll wear black and some flare of color. You'll see a flare of color here and there, a flare of red, a flare of pink, a flare of orange, a flare of yellow. But typically it's matched with a muted color. You rarely will see blue and red, bright blue and bright red worn together by one person. When you do see it, it's typically in the form of a red t-shirt over blue jeans. As I said, it's even more rare to see the combination of blue over red. So that would be somebody wearing, let's say, a blue suit and red shoes, or blue or red within blue. So that would be, let's say, somebody wearing a red vest under a blue blazer, or a mostly blue t-shirt with a red logo hovering sort of on the inside, within the inside of the blue t-shirt. A logo on the front of the t-shirt, and it doesn't take up the whole t-shirt, it's just sort of a single little logo. This logo would more typically be circular in shape. It may take the form of an animal or something, perhaps a hummingbird, something along those lines, but more likely, more often than not, it will be a circular type shape logo if it's red within blue. So the trend we're looking for is red within blue or blue over red. So again, this will most typically manifest as somebody wearing blue jeans and red sneakers. Even I wear red sneakers under blue jeans, or like under a blue dress sometimes. So I'm not going to just jump right on accusing somebody of being a part of some kind of network just because they're wearing blue over red. But this is just to show you an example that it is a rare color combination. You don't see it very often. Where you do see it most often is when dealing with Freemasons and studying Freemasonry. If you go and look at paintings of historical famous Freemasons, particularly the royalty that had many paintings commissioned of themselves, you'll see a lot of that color combination, not just red and blue together, but blue over red. You'll even see this in modern day photographs of some of our modern day famous Freemasons. As I've said, the cult, this network that I've been investigating for about 2 years now, it looks to me like they are heavily entrenched in Freemasonry and other secret societies, related orders like the Ordo Templi Orientis, or the OTO. I am not saying that it's every Freemason or every OTO member. I am saying that this is a network that is entrenched in those societies and in those orders, and they'll likely entrench themselves in any kind of network that they feel can bring them power, any kind of power and influence. And they do use some of the symbols and color coding patterns that are used in Freemasonry and the OTO and the occulted and esoteric communities. Freemasons are known for their Red Lodge and their Blue Lodge. There's a lot to blue over red. There's a lot of meaning behind these colors. There's a lot of meaning for these networks. I'll be making more videos getting into the meaning of these colors, at least in the occult world and the esoteric world, and what it likely means to Freemasons, and in regards to the concepts in Freemasonry and in the OTO, and some of the beliefs that I see kind of popping up, the ideas I see popping up out of these societies. Colors actually tell you way more than you think. For those of you who think that's silly, that people would communicate to each other using just colors, why do you let colors tell you when to stop and slow down and drive when you're driving a vehicle? If you think about it, colors and images, symbols, send you cues and messages all the time, every day, that you likely aren't consciously processing, but you are subconsciously on some level processing them. So again, please keep in mind, I am showing you this. Keep an eye on the people you're seeing. We're seeing some red. We're seeing some blue here and there. We are rarely seeing red and blue together on one person. All right? And even more rarely are we seeing the combination of blue over red. This, as I said, this color combination pops up, though, most frequently with Freemasonry. And I've noticed this pattern since very close to the beginning of my investigations into this group. One of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because I found it very interesting with my recent experiences on Cedar Island, at Cedar Island Ranch, that just a few days before I was fired, the guy who I was told was going to be taking my job, who was an illegal immigrant, who I was told was the nephew of Jorge Camacho Rivera, his name is Valente, who spoke maybe 5 words of English and looked like he had very little experience riding horses. He walked into the barn one of the first times I saw him, if not the first time, I believe. He walked into the barn where I was working wearing blue over red. Wearing a blue hoodie and red work gloves. And I mean blue. I mean not like a dark navy blue hoodie or something. I mean bright blue, like that screen in the background there. Bright blue hoodie sticking out of a gray sweatshirt, and then very bright, like cherry red, like Elmo there, cherry red work gloves. A very noticeable blue over red. This was also the same time, this same incident, the time that he came into the barn wearing this, that he made Buck, one of the horses, freak out. He was tacking up Buck while Jorge and I looked on just outside of the stall, and Buck flipped out, and had a fear in his eye, like he really did not want to be anywhere near Valente, and freaked out so badly that he gashed his face open on the corner of a wooden beam in his stall. And only maybe about roughly 10 to 15 minutes after that, Jorge had gone out on a ride and left myself and Valente behind in the barn. I was cooing to Buck, the horse. I was standing outside his stall, and sort of cooing softly to him, telling him he was going to be all right after he'd gashed his face open. And Valente, he at the time had been in the barn office, and as he came out of the barn office and started walking down the length of the barn and towards myself and towards Buck, and walking behind me, Buck immediately, as Valente walked out of the barn office at the other end of the barn, Buck immediately went from a passive, docile, calm state with his head lowered and right up near me in the stall to, as soon as he saw Valente moving down at one end of the barn, he picked his head up immediately. He was eyes locked on Valente. His ears were locked on Valente, and he just clocked him the whole way. Just watched him slowly and alertly walking the entire length of the barn, and watched him walking behind me. And I was watching Buck, watching Valente walking behind me and paying attention to how Buck was responding to Valente. And Buck did not like him, not at all. Like on a very, very base level, did not like him. Oh, this is gonna stop recording, I think. Oh wait, it might still be recording. Well, let's see how this went. So, yeah, I guess that's just about done. And then only a few minutes after that, maybe about another 10 to 15 minutes after, I saw him, put Buck on high alert. I then was down at the other end of the barn near the barn office and felt kind of prickles on the back of my neck, and turned around to see Valente fondling a lead rope, which is a big, thick, leash rope, essentially. It's used for guiding horses, like the way you would guide a dog on a leash. And he was fondling in a way that was just creepy, like the way a serial killer would be fondling a rope in a horror movie that he's about to strangle someone with. It was just really creepy. The entire incident was very creepy. And I'm sorry, it's just too much coincidence for me that I've spent the last 2 years investigating a cult network of people that very clearly show this pattern of wearing blue over red, that it's such a rare combination for people to wear. And suddenly, Valente's walking into the barn wearing that color combination, freaking out one of the horses, and fondling a lead rope behind my back, a few feet behind my back, and sending my gut off with all kinds of alarm bells. I didn't get the feeling like he was planning to hurt me there. I got the feeling, though, like I was being messed with, though. I did get that feeling. Whether or not they happened upon my writings and some of my videos and saw some of my research and were just messing with me to try to get me to freak out, so that they could have a reason to fire me, because I called Jorge and freaked out, stressed out, going I can't take the stress anymore. Or if they are actually a part of this network and they were sending me some kind of a message. But that was the overall gut feeling I got, was I'm being messed with, not so much that he was actually planning to hurt me. Just that they were trying to, people were trying to scare me. Valente was actively trying to scare me. And whoever was behind the nonsense of him walking in dressed like that, that was the overall feeling I got. That I was being messed with. I was being intimidated. So yeah, hopefully this recording went well. We'll see how it went. Anyway, I'll be making more like this with other video clips. So again, this is just to give you an idea of a sampling of the population and what people typically wear, and how rare it actually is to see the combination of red and blue worn together, let alone blue over red. And I most often see it when looking into or dealing with Freemasons and related orders. So, again, all right, I'm going to end this one, and hopefully this went well, because I've made this roughly the same video quite a few times.